Hi everybody, welcome back to Hearing Things with Julie and Brad. Julie, I have to thank her. She is wearing a BC girl is wearing a Northeastern sweatshirt because we are actually here with Nicole Laffan for what's the center called?
It is Northeastern Speech, Language, and Hearing Center.
I wanted to make sure that we got it right, so I deferred to the expert. Okay. And so we're actually on campus. It's been great. I can actually see my old stomping grounds here, right next to the Ruggles Station, all that kind of stuff. So I graduated 22 years ago at this point, and so I was so excited when you had a program for HLAA Boston, and I realized that this building wasn't there when I was here, and so I just had to reach out and get Nicole on because they do some fantastic things for the deaf and hard of hearing community. So, Nicole, the first question is, please introduce yourself.
Sure. So thank you for having me. My name is Nicole Laffan. I'm an audiologist and a speech pathologist. I did my undergrad work at Boston University and then came to Northeastern. I originally had planned on only getting a master's degree in speech pathology, and at the time we shared a clinic with the audiology department. So I was fascinated by the patients in the waiting room, that they would be in the waiting room. I could hear them struggling to communicate with their loved ones. I could hear them, have a loud voice. And then they would leave after their appointment. The volume of their voice would be down. Sure. They would be happy. They'd be able to communicate with their loved ones. Cool. And for me, as a speech therapy graduate student at the time, I started to become really interested in audiology, to think that you can have the power to help somebody that quickly. So that's why I became interested in audiology. And Dr. Redden at the time was running the audiology department, and he was just a very special person to work with, and allowed me to join classes and observe, and then I decided to get my master's in audiology as well.
That's fantastic.
And then years later I went back and got my doctorate degree in audiology because they changed the requirements.
Okay.
So starting in 2007, if you were to complete a program, the programs had to switch over and get accreditation to be a doctorate program and no longer a master's program.
That?
Huh.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's a good accomplishment. That's awesome.
So, I guess we should have introduced you as Dr. Nicole Laffan then. So sorry. So okay, we're going to take it back a little less serious, because that was very heartwarming. It's great to hear that kind of story. But let's take it a little less serious. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Typically, I would get veggies.
Okay. Yeah.
Start with at least spinach.
Yeah. Okay.
And then maybe add, depending.
Make like a salad on top of the pizza.
Spinach, mushrooms.
Yeah.
My children would not allow that.
No.
They would want pepperoni. So it all depends on who I'm with.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about you?
Onion and extra cheese.
Ooh.
Interesting. I like jalapeno and pineapple.
That is a really interesting mix. I like them both, but not together.
It worked. It's like a mango salsa or something. You know, you get like the sweet salsa. She's gonna hit me after
My
this.
Italian heart listening to this, but okay.
So
all right.
Yeah. So we'll get serious and sort of.
Sure.
Julie will ask the serious question.
I shall. So if you could tell us a little bit about Northeastern's audio rehab and hearing device grant program, which is remarkable, which I hadn't known about until you spoke to our chapter. So if you could tell people about that, it's really an incredible resource that is, I think, not as known as perhaps it could be.
Sure. So years ago, the Boston Guild had a office on Commonwealth Ave, and it was a nonprofit organization where they provided evaluations and hearing aids and lip reading training, and they decided to close their doors, but the money that they had, they gave to Northeastern to manage. So that's where this funding has come from. So it's called the Boston Guild for the Hard of Hearing, and here at Northeastern, we're able to use that money to provide discounted hearing aids to individuals that need financial assistance.
That's so great.
So it's very simple. They can get the application on our website. Their application just requires them to fill out their information and how we can get in touch with them. They need to check a box that says that they do not have an insurance benefit, and that they would need financial assistance, and they need one member from the community to sign it saying that they agree that this individual would benefit from financial assistance.
That's great.
And so typically that could be a social worker, a doctor, a landlord, a pastor, a banker, somebody that has knowledge about this individual's financial need and not a friend or a family member.
That's incredible. Access is huge.
So big.
And blocked access to necessary resources, especially for hearing. That's wonderful. That's an amazing program.
And the program is it's phenomenal. So a patient pays $250 for one hearing aid, or if they need two, they pay $950 for the two.
Okay.
And these hearing aids typically are about $3,500 if they don't have the benefit. So it's the patient pays a portion, and the rest of the funding we take from this guild.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's so sad to see how little insurance coverage there is for anything to do with hearing loss. So it's fantastic to see you filling that gap.
Trying,
yeah,
yes.
right.
Yes, absolutely trying. And if individuals can't afford that, there's other things that we can talk about. So I highly recommend people share the news about this program, as well as contact us if they have concerns about even being able to pay that.
Sure.
That's great.
Thank you. I hope everyone can follow up that. If you know someone that is in need that doesn't have that access,
I'll link to the application on this episode so that we can give people.
That would be great. And then the hearing aids come with a 2 to 3 year warranty depending on the manufacturer. And the first 6 months of visits are all covered because we know that it's not just a quick fit. Giving someone a hearing aid, in order to make it a really good fit, we need to build a relationship. They need to come back. They need to be comfortable sharing what they like and don't like so that we can hear what their concerns are and make the changes. So for the first 6 months, there's no charges for visits. And after that, the charge is $25 for a half-hour visit.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So very well worth it. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, you need that relationship with your audiologist.
Yes.
We've said it before because you get the hearing aids. It's just the start, right? It's just the start of the journey, and so you need somebody you can trust to follow up with.
Absolutely,
Right.
And it's just a piece of technology.
Right, exactly.
It needs to be programmed well by a skilled audiologist who's listening to the client's concerns. It needs to fit well. It's not one size fits all. It can't be something that you just purchase over the counter online.
Yep.
I have a hearing aid tips and tricks every month. I'm a library, and I always talk about the speech banana. And so that I use the speech banana and where that fits on the path to say, like, maybe over-the-counter hearing aids aren't working depending on your loss, because the over-the-counters might not amplify it enough.
Right. And
you're going to get them and hearing aids don't work for me. And not use it, and they could use the help.
Absolutely, and so often, to me, it's unfortunate that even passed to allow individuals to buy it over the counter because consumers are thinking, if it's sold, it's safe. It's not.
Right.
The individual there's no guarantee that the individual's over 18, which they need to be.
Interesting. Okay.
It's self-prescribed.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking in their ear to see that maybe their ear is just full of wax. And there's also the concern that, a medical diagnosis might be missed. If it's
100%.
So what if there's an asymmetry? What if the ears are different?
Right.
What if they have vestibular issues as well, or tinnitus? I mean, these could be signs to something else that if they had seen an audiologist, the audiologist would do an accurate evaluation and determine whether medical follow-up is needed. So my concern is just that they could potentially miss a tumor.
Yeah, for sure.
That they're buying a device that's a one-size-fits-all, and it's not. And I don't know about you, but my ears are different shapes.
Yes.
Everybody's are.
Oh my God, yeah.
So you might get earbuds, and one fits, one doesn't, one falls out, one's uncomfortable.
Yep.
So with hearing loss, it needs to be fit well, so the sound is not leaking out,
Right.
and that it's not causing feedback, it's not whistling. So if it's not fitting well, a patient, and it's whistling, patients just turn it down.
Oh.
But now it's not giving them what they need.
Exactly. Right.
It's so fraught. It's such a. I mean, I think the idea was good, like make hearing aids more available, but the execution isn't there.
No,
It's sad.
You're absolutely correct, and it's unfortunate then that people say, well, I tried them and they didn't work for me. So their one experience is this negative experience, and then they may not go back and try them again. Or oftentimes there's no return policy. So they've spent money that if they had come to the guild and used ours,
Sure.
you know, and there is even a return policy with the guild if they're unhappy.
Sure.
Oh,
So,
excellent.
but yeah, it is there, and the technology piece is remarkable to see how the technology has improved. We were talking about it
Absolutely,
earlier,
yeah.
from analog devices where we needed little screwdrivers to make adjustments to digitally programmable to now completely digital.
It's fantastic.
But the hearing aids, the technology, even though it's remarkable, it's just one piece of it.
Right.
That's
it's
so
just
key.
a tool, right? It's just
That is
a tool,
so
one
key.
tool that you need to be able to go around in the world. Really not made, not or less than much.
Sure.
So it's good. So let's switch gears a little bit here. And so this was something I got from your talk with the HLAA
Yes.
is why do you recommend people eliminate the word what?
Because if a listener misses something and says what, the speaker doesn't know what was missed.
Exactly.
So the speaker may repeat the whole story, and the listener doesn't want
Sure.
it. The speaker may say, oh, never mind, it wasn't important, which
Yeah.
is so unfair for them to judge,
Big time.
Yes.
to make that decision. So I recommend that patients share what they heard or what they need or what they missed.
Right.
So for example, I heard you up until the word store. What did you say after that? Or can you repeat what you said before the word store? So again, it's allowing the listener to get what they need faster, so then that conversation flows, and we call that conversation fluency, that it just keeps going. If the listener tells them what they need, then they're going to get it repaired in the way they need it faster. Versus if they just say what, they may have wanted the speaker to talk louder. But if they just say what,
Right.
the speaker isn't going to change
It's
anything.
just
Or the speaker may be a really fast talker.
Yeah.
So if the listener just says what,
Yeah.
then the speaker's just going to repeat it most likely the same way.
Right.
So if they instead let the speaker know what they need, it will help me if you say that slower. It will help me if you repeat that again just a little bit louder.
Right.
That's great.
Then you're going to get what you need.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
I
it's
remember I
not-
took that away from your talk also. I was
Yeah.
like, yes, I needed this all these years. you
It's
know?
so simple, right? It's
great.
easy to remember. Just
Yeah.
don't use that word. Give more information.
Yeah.
So.
Or use it in the sense where you're saying what you need or what you missed or what you want clarification of.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Did you say this word or that word? Not just what,
Fantastic.
because they don't know exactly what it is that you missed.
Fantastic. Thank you. That was great. I love that.
Yeah, same.
That resonated with me as well. What are some other communication tips that you give your patients?
So a lot of it is for not only for the patient, but for whoever they're communicating with. So the number one thing I say is you need to start by calling the person's name or gaining their attention. So waving
important.
so
Yeah.
they know. You said something earlier when we were walking down the hall, and you had said, "Wait, don't talk until you're
We can
facing
see.
me."
Yeah.
And that's so important. If you have normal hearing, the speaker doesn't know what the listeners need, or
Right.
don't know how important it is
True.
to make sure you have their attention and that you're facing them. So oftentimes I'm counseling the individual with hearing loss to advocate for themselves, but I'm also letting all the family members know it's so unfair if you talk to them from another room, if you start talking without them looking at you. And I often just use the example of, I have normal hearing, my children have normal hearing, but let's say my son Will is watching TV, and if I walk in and just start talking to him, He's going to miss part of the message.
Yeah, sure.
Then he's maybe not going to do the dishes or whatever it was that I asked him to do. So I need to be aware that if I want my message received, I have power. I have work that I need to do. I need to call his name. When he looks up at me, then I can share the message. If the TV's on, I need to turn the TV down. So for the listener, for the individual with hearing loss, I'm encouraging them to say, please only speak to me when I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Just let my eyes be on you and then I'm ready. I used an example of it's like playing catch.
Oh.
So if I was to just come in and throw a ball at Julie, okay, there's a great chance she's not going to catch it. It's going to fall. You're not going to be laughing. You're going to be mad at me. The exchange is already off to.
It's already negative, right?
Yes. So that's unfair. And
Sure.
it's just like catching a message. If I throw that message at
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
it's
That's such
unfair.
a great analogy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So I say to my patients, you can't just throw the message at them. You can't
Right.
just throw the ball. You need to just call their name.
Yeah.
If they don't look up at you, they're not ready to receive the message.
Right.
They might be reading a book and they may be really interested in this section of the book and they're not looking at you. And so much of our communication isn't just the auditory piece, but it's also, we all read facial expressions and
Yeah.
body language. And if someone just comes in when your mind is either in a book or watching TV or they're attempting to talk to you from behind, you're already starting off on a negative piece that they're not ready to receive it. So
So
I really
true.
just say that it's everybody's job to make sure that they're looking at you before you share anything.
You know what, I just so appreciate your analogies, but also the fact that you're helping put the onus on both members that are communicating with one another, because I think so often, as a person with hearing loss, I feel like I'm the one that always has to advocate and make the attempt and make it comfortable for the other person. So the strategies that you gave for both listeners and speakers with typical and non-typical hearing was fantastic. Thank you for that.
Oh,
That's
sure.
really valuable.
Sure. Well, it's unfair.
Yeah.
But there's also things that are, so for example, if not only am I coaching the speaker to try to be in front of the person, try to face them, if they do share something from another room, let's say, and the listener says, what? Huh? Then we're enabling
Sure.
that behavior to continue.
A lot of analogy.
So you really want to be able to say, I can't hear you,
Yeah.
come to me, or I'll come to you, or don't respond.
Right.
Because by just saying, what? They're just going to do it the same, say it the same way from another
Sure.
space.
This is fantastic information.
We talk about this in I think either a mini video or an episode. It's like we're really bad at it amongst ourselves.
Oh, well,
and so
awful.
we'll be like,
I forget that he can't hear. Because I'm used to being the
so
only
she'll
one.
yell at me from another room, and like I won't hear her, and it's internalized,
Yeah.
right? We were talking about like autism, right? The internalized stigma of hearing loss, where like we know we both can't hear very well, but we still have those habits because that's just the way the world works, and so we laugh.
Yeah.
Because you have to, right?
Absolutely.
But you also know that it's something we're working on.
We're
We
working
laugh
on each
because
other,
there's
right? This
yeah,
is
no, we
funny.
don't get mad at each other, and it's
Right.
easier that way. And we know that we're working on it
Right.
because there's nothing more frustrating to know that you need to work on something and you don't.
And you don't.
Okay, now this is fantastic. I love how simple your tips are because they're so powerful,
They're
but then
great.
they're simple and it's easy to remember. So thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to steal them all and use
Please
them.
do.
To
Please
help them
do.
understand my hearing loss and also working with
Yeah.
each other, because they tend to, they're working on their communication skills. They'll talk over each other all day long if I let them. So we bring a lot of this to a classroom.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you. This is great.
All right, so what is one thing you wish more people knew about hearing loss or hearing devices?
So with hearing devices, that it's not a one-size-fits-all.
Yes.
That everybody's hearing loss is different,
Mhm.
and that people's hearing loss also changes.
Mm.
So they
Nice.
may be fit with hearing aids, and then a year later, their hearing loss could change, and they need to be adjusted. So we recommend that individuals that have hearing difficulties have their hearing evaluated every year, so that we can tell, or an audiologist can look at it and say whether there's been any changes, and if there have, then we need to modify the hearing aid, or just really listen to the patient. The patient needs to be encouraged to advocate for themselves. So I can't fix something if I don't know about it. So I'll tell my patients, I want you to come with a list of things that you're unhappy with. I will do my best to listen to you and to fix them if possible, or to provide suggestions on how to work in that scenario. But so, I guess to get back to your original question, it's every hearing loss is different.
Yes.
Everybody's needs are different. People's hearing loss may change, and their needs may change depending on their work environment or their lifestyle change. And so it's important not to ever neglect it, to continue to stay on top of it, where you're having an evaluation every year, and hopefully where you have found an audiologist that you feel heard, and that you can talk to them about what your concerns are.
So important.
Having that relationship is so key.
Absolutely.
So key for sure. Absolutely.
So it's just the last question. We like to share.
Okay.
I love it.
And what is your book recommendation?
Okay. So my recommendation is called Modern Guide to Hearing Loss, and it can be found on the Mass Commission for Deaf and Hard of Hearing website. One can download it for free. One can just read it online, or you can reach out to the Mass Commission for Deaf and Hard of Hearing and request a hard copy. So I don't have a hard copy, but they used to provide, I had an older version of their resource that I used to be able to provide to patients, and it's outdated, so I was so excited that they've updated it with the Modern Guide to Hearing Loss, and it's really well written. Individuals can just go to a chapter of what they're interested in.
That's going to get a hands on it.
Yeah.
I found it very user friendly and just helpful for patients when they're navigating, learning more about their loss and what it means and what options they might have.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's great. I never knew about that.
Yeah.
I'm going with Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte.
Ooh.
I love that
Yeah.
book. It's one of the first classics that I read, probably high school, maybe probably late high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just so sweeping. I mean,
Yeah.
the Moors and the Heathcliff and Catherine and the drama. I mean, there's nothing better than that. I just love it. And the Laurence Olivier version of the movie is my
nice.
favorite.
Okay.
So that's my pick for today.
Sounds good. Yeah.
For sure. And what do you have?
So I had to pick something. So this is called I can't really read it. I had the book and the light foiled me. So it's called The Wreck of the Whaleship Essex. And so I'll read a little bit in the back and you'll see why. So on the morning of November 20th, 1820, in the Pacific Ocean, an enraged sperm whale rammed the Nantucket whaler Essex. So this is the real life event that was the inspiration for Moby Dick. And the reason I'm bringing the book is because I bought this when I was here on Northeastern. So I was an English major, and you have to have a literary figure. I took an entire class on Herman Melville, and so we read it here. So it was fun to actually bring this back to campus when I used it the first time. So it was fun. So it's pretty. This is a much short book, and so I loved Moby Dick, but I also took an entire class on Herman Melville, and so I had help reading it because it's a thick book, not just dense, a lot of pages, but it goes a lot of analogies and symbolism. There's a lot there, but I was an English major for a reason. That's what I like. So yes, that's it. So I want to thank you so much for being here. It's been fantastic. And as we were talking, I noticed we weren't looking at the camera at all because I think all of us have really good speech etiquette when it comes to hearing loss.
Yeah.
And so I noticed you
noticed
making
that
eye contact, looking at us when you were talking to us, speaking slowly. So I apologize to all the hard of hearing people out there that require lip reading because you probably didn't see very much of mine or Julie's. But we do have the captions that will come up.
Great.
We have that, so we make it accessible. But I wanted to point it out because it was something that struck me. Is when we have usually when we have guests, we're all looking at it. But we just arrange. You see, Julie and I are tilting,
today,
and you just instinctively turn to each of us.
Yeah,
so I want to thank you for
much.
that because I think that's an understated skill because it's something you probably had to practice to be able to speak appropriately for people with hearing loss.
Absolutely.
And it's not something that we even do all the time. So before we go, did you want to promote anything else? Any other comments you wanted to say?
Yes.
Okay, go.
Thank you. So I just wanted to piggyback on what you were saying.
Okay.
That as the speaker, I'm sharing information with you. You're listening. You're nodding. So that's telling me that you're following along. it's my role to make adjustments as I read your facial expressions about whether you're understanding or not. So if you had a puzzled look on your face, then I would assume you weren't understanding. And so then it's my role to think, do I change the words? Do I talk slower? Do I talk louder? And oftentimes, individuals, the listener, as you mentioned earlier, the individual that has some hearing challenges assumes that it's all of their responsibility to get the message.
We've talked about that, the guilt that comes with not being able to hear well.
But it's the speaker's job. It's back and forth. It really is that back and forth communication, that it's our role to determine whether somebody's understanding us or not and make modifications if needed. And that's an important piece that I think I like to share with patients, loved ones, when they come to their appointments, that it's not just them. It's your role to make sure that you're understood.
That's so huge.
So that was one piece that I wanted to just comment on, and hopefully take the burden off of individuals.
That's true.
That it's if the speaker wants to be heard, if they want their message to be shared, it's their job to make sure it's heard. Like, for example, if I'm sharing something with my children and they're spacing out, then I say, did you understand that? Tell me what you thought I just said, right? I need some response back to make sure. But anyway, the other piece that I want to offer to individuals that may be interested is we have a program here that we've started called the Better Hearing Program. It is complimentary.
Oh, nice.
We started off running it. It's oral rehabilitation sessions.
Oh, great.
Originally, we ran them in this space with individuals in the community that would come. However, then COVID happened, and we couldn't run them here, and we started to run them virtually. And we learned when we were running them virtually that they couldn't be group because it was too hard to know whose turn is it to talk. So we started to do it individually. So we invite individuals and a coworker, a loved one, a family member to join, or individuals can join by themselves. And they're paired with 2 speech therapy graduate students and myself. And so we run 2 sessions for them virtually. They're back to back, maybe so 2 consecutive Mondays, and they're typically just an hour and a half. But we share information with the patient, and then it's very individualized because the patient it's private, and they're welcome to ask questions, make comments, so that we can modify what we want to share to make it as appropriate as possible for the individual that's joining. So the focus of session 1 is to really teach individuals ways to minimize, not eliminate, right, but minimize the challenges that they have due to their hearing loss. So we're teaching them not to rely only on the auditory piece, but to rely on lip reading. We review speech reading, lip reading, reading body language. We talk about reading the scene. So if you are approaching, let's say you're at an appointment for a doctor's appointment, you're reading the scene, you're thinking ahead of time about what the person behind the desk may ask you.
Yes.
Talk about that all the time.
We do it all the time,
So true.
You have to, right?
Well,
prepare yourself.
But not everybody does.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Like, where's the best seat to sit in? So when they come out to call your name, you have half a shot of knowing it's your turn to stand up, that kind of stuff, right?
So that is like really modifying your environment, picking the best place, doing listening walks. Where's the best place in the office to sit? Where's the best place in this meeting to sit? Where's the best place in a restaurant to sit?
Fantastic.
So we talk about modifying the environment. We talk about preparing for what somebody might say. So back to that example of if you're at a doctor's office, you're anticipating the person behind the desk might ask you your name, your date of birth, who you're here to see. They may ask you a question about your insurance. But if you go to check in somewhere else at a different type of appointment, they may not be asking those terms.
Right.
So just think about the language that may be used.
I love that this is being directly taught, that there's an opportunity for this to be directly taught to people. That is invaluable.
Excellent.
invaluable to have
Yeah.
the skills going in. Because so much of this, I think we had to figure out on the fly.
Absolutely.
Growing up as we went along, as these services weren't available or known
Right.
to us when we were growing up. But this is phenomenal.
And I agree, and I
This
keep
is great.
hearing from patients, I feel like the missing piece is the oral rehabilitation is not provided.
Mhm.
So audiologists can't bill for it. So they
Okay.
often don't provide it. There's this
Interesting.
loophole.
Yeah.
But speech pathologists can bill for it.
Okay.
So I'm trying to coach the speech pathologists here as they're going through our program. This is something you
Yeah.
can be offering
Invaluable.
to patients. And a patient just getting a piece of technology, a hearing aid, is only part of it.
It's only part of
If they don't know how to put it in correctly, if they don't know how to clean it, it's going to die on them. If they were fit with hearing aids and they have dexterity issues,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
then that's part of the orientation, but it's also like rehabilitation process.
Yeah.
Let's plan this, let's practice, let's take a video so we can show or let's get a different set that's easier to put in. So we talk about having the right technology, having it programmed correctly, using real ear measurements, where not every facility does real ear measurements, but that is the gold standard. It's not required, but it really is the gold standard.
So what is the real ear measurements?
So it's equipment that we have that when we're fitting a patient with hearing aids, we're also using this equipment to measure how the hearing aid is performing as it sits in the patient's ear canal.
Okay.
Because everybody's ear canal is
Sure.
a different shape.
Yep.
And how close it is to the eardrum changes which
Oh, that's a good
frequencies it's going to increase.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
So we need to
Huh,
measure
I forgot about
it
that.
when it's in their ear.
Right.
And so the measurements allow us to then tweak how much gain they're getting at different frequencies when we can look at our monitor
Never knew
and
that.
say, they're not getting enough power at 2,000 hertz,
Huh.
so let me give them more gain
Amazing.
just there. So
So cool.
great, having good equipment,
Yeah.
having it programmed correctly,
Yeah.
using real ear measurements, having a relationship with somebody that you feel like you can go in and complain about, I love my hearing aid
Yeah.
in this situation,
Yeah.
but in this situation I'm falling apart.
Yeah.
So that we can maybe create a different listening program specifically for that environment. In addition to that, so back to the classes, when we start the classes, we're saying, you've got your equipment, it's been programmed well. Now we want to encourage you to not rely on just the hearing piece, but rely on visual cues, lip reading and speech reading, rely on language, what we know about language
Yeah.
and the vocabulary that we know, rely on, as English language learners, we know that certain sounds go together in our language and certain sounds don't. So we just review that to remind the patient, trust your gut. If you're hearing a word that's like a nonsense word that doesn't make sense, it probably doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the first session.
Yeah.
The second session is in telling the patient that even though we've gone through all of these strategies, breakdowns are still going to occur. And when they do, how do we fix it? And that's back to when we talked about not using what.
Yeah. Right.
So tell them what you need, what you heard, what you might have missed. You can ask for clarification versus taking yes, we want them to make an educated guess, but certainly not to pretend that you've heard something.
Oh,
yeah. Because, and we talk about scenarios that when you as the listener are just pretending, you're bluffing.
Yeah.
You're making the speaker feel like you really don't want to communicate with them.
Right.
So the message
That's
you're
true.
giving to them is, I don't really care about your message with you. You're not that important.
Right.
And that's not really what you may be wanting to communicate. You may want to communicate
well,
that.
it depends.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I love the work that you're doing because you're also empowering people to be self-advocates for themselves because you're giving them the language, you're giving them the strategies. Because I know firsthand how challenging it can be sometimes and how exhausting it is to have to advocate all the time. But you've given such a great toolbox to people. That's a jumping off point. Thank you. This is phenomenal.
Welcome.
This is
You're
great.
welcome. So
Thank
if
you.
anybody's interested in that, you can send them our way.
Yep, okay. Yeah, got it.
They're welcome to contact our center, the Speech, Language, and Hearing Center at Northeastern University. And they will then, participants that are interested, they'll share their email, phone number with me, and I'll contact them and give them dates for
Phenomenal.
when they can participate.
That's great.
There's no charge.
Yeah,
This is
that's
awesome.
amazing.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you both
Yeah.
for what you do.
Oh, thank
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And I've seen your show. It's
Oh,
fun.
Thank you.
And I think it's phenomenal the support that you're trying to provide
Thank
to
you.
We-
individuals and their families.
Yeah, we didn't have, well, I didn't have much of it growing up, and like it's something that we want to change. And so it's so
Yeah.
encouraging to hear all the things that you
Amazing.
do, because it's stuff that I think we've learned kind of as survival tools that
Yes.
are being taught now. That's
Yeah.
just fantastic.
So
It's going to make
awesome.
everybody's lives easier, not just the people with hearing loss, right? It's going to make the people in their lives. Like you were saying, it's the communication
Such an
goes both ways.
empowerment to it, which is just fantastic. Thank you.
Well, I'm blessed to be here at Northeastern because that's their mission.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To try to
right.
find ways to
Yeah.
help individuals in the
Right.
community, and they really support programs like this.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm so glad that I'm here,
Yeah.
and I don't plan on going anywhere.
Good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the time.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right, we're
that's
good.
it.
All right, so thank
Hope
you, everybody.
knows a bunch
I'm
of
gonna
stuff. We'll see you again.
exactly. I'll put all the links below, and hopefully we'll give her some more work. Bye.
Bye.